So Jefferson County mountain properties are a really hot thing right now because if you can think of like the advantage of living halfway between work in Denver and skiing in the mountains, right? That's like the dream for a lot of people. So if you can own a home up there, but still be able to have fun and get to work, that's pretty ideal. And so it would be like a 45 to 50-minute commute to both if you lived in some of these areas like Conifer, Evergreen, Bailey, Colorado, Pine, Colorado. Um, and talking about Evergreen, Colorado, it's probably the highest priced one. And I'll kind of break these down for you. Evergreen's got a population of about 9,000 people is all, but it's one of the higher populated cities up there. And it's, elevation wise, you're right around 7,000 feet. It's one of the closer ones to I-70 that you hit right as you're climbing up I-70 to get to the mountain resorts. You get Evergreen first. And so it's probably one of the closest commutes to get into the city. Higher average price point than all of those other mountain, like Jefferson County mountain towns that I mentioned in Colorado. And so that's Evergreen. Really nice homes there. You'll see a lot more money being invested into those homes as far as just high dollar type properties. It's not uncommon to see $2, $3, $4, $5 million properties in Evergreen, and that drives that average price up. Some of the other towns, Conifer is much higher populated, and you've got a lot more people in Conifer. It's 9,200 feet. So you've got a pretty big elevation there, almost twice what you get in the city in Denver. And so Conifer's a cool spot. They've got Aspen Park, is shopping center. It's a little more populated and also more commercial than like Bailey and Pine. Feel much more remote. We're talking in those, it's less than 4,000 people in each of those, and elevation's similar. You're between 7,000 and 8,000 feet above sea level in those areas. But those are, just a little bit more about those towns. One thing that you should know with the septic systems, I had mentioned that before. But one of the things that happens is that the Tri-County Health Department has mandated that whenever there is a real estate contract and a purchase that happens, the seller is required to clean out the septic system, and it has to be inspected and approved by a county inspector. And so because of that, that's a requirement. So if you're a buyer buying in those areas, that should be done by the seller, and that should be handled by them, and you should get proper paperwork to make sure that it checks out. And the one thing that you need to look at too is make sure that it lines up with the bedroom count, because the county inspector will go out there and say, yeah, this septic system is approved for 4 bedrooms, right? So you want to make sure that the bedroom count on the permit for the county inspection matches with what's actually in the house. If they finished a basement, now they got 6 bedrooms, then you could possibly, push for that homeowner to expand the septic system and get it to a 6-bedroom type system that would now serve more bedrooms. That's how they determine how big the capacity needs to be for these septic systems. And if I'm speaking Chinese right now and you're like, what the heck is a septic system? So septic systems replace the sewer system basically, right? And it's like a holding tank where all of your waste goes. And so it has to be pumped out and removed every so often. And so, most homeowners up there will just have it pumped like every year. If you've got a lot of people in your house, maybe every 6 months. But that's typically how that works. And then, having water on a well rather than public water, there's a little bit more maintenance to that. You just want to make sure that your well is working properly. And if it's not, it may add some extra expenses that you wouldn't have if you were on public water. So I think everyone's familiar with what a well is, but like you would want to test that well to make sure that well is working properly. It's got a good flow rate to it. It's pumping enough water to work for the needs that the household may have. Those are the types of things that you want to think about when you're buying a mountain property, especially here in Jefferson County mountain properties in Colorado. And so again, that's, the type of property that we serve. If it's outside of that, like I mentioned before, we have some amazing connections. Like I'm telling you, people that just take great care of you in some of these areas, that are like lower cost areas, 30 minutes outside of the resorts or up in the mountain resorts in Summit County. We've got some fantastic connections for you that will take really, really good care of you. And they know all the ins and outs of the zoning up there, the laws with Airbnb and VRBO, so that you don't get yourself in trouble. And I probably am not qualified to represent you in those areas anyway, because I don't know those markets very well. But I know someone who does. So give me a call, and I would love to make that connection to make sure that you have an amazing experience up there, because you don't want to go with someone that really doesn't know the market very well and doesn't know how to negotiate for you and doesn't know how to coach you through the process, because it could just turn into a headache for you in the long run. And I don't want that for you. I want you, since you're listening to this channel and you have a desire to learn about how things work and stuff, I'm sure you're someone who wants to have a very smooth, good experience. So just give me a call and I can make that happen for you in any of those markets. And if you're looking outside the state, Tahoe, you're interested in a different type of mountain property in California or another area, I can refer you to someone out there as well. And RE/MAX is global. So we've got agents everywhere. And I go to conferences every year to meet some of these awesome agents that are high producers, that know their markets and are very professional. And so I'd be happy to connect you in another location too, so that you can use the Icon or the Epic Pass everywhere, all over the country or the world, actually. If you even Japan, I know there's some mountains down there. There's some cool stuff in, obviously Europe and those areas too. I've got a RE/MAX agent for you out there, and I can do some digging and make sure you're connected with the right person. So again, thanks for listening. And if you're interested in these Colorado mountain properties, just give me a call. We're happy to help you in those. We can absolutely get you through and make sure that we can show them to you and help you make a great decision.